LBR TV of education, information, and entertainment starts now. LBR TV of education, information, and entertainment starts now.
Some of you may be aspiring to positions of leadership in the political arena, but the question is, why do you want to lead? In Africa, the shortest route to ill-gotten wealth is political leadership. If you want to get wealth without working for it at all, join African politics.
My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber, stop sleeping. Whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your... Come on, come on, come on. I know y'all sleeping now. Y'all gotta whip us some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not the I said we tired with their lies. We tired with their promises that led us to a lot of damages. We tired with that speech they preach in D and now you need to deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrate us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to breathe? You see, we just tell you.
LBR TV of education, information, and entertainment starts now. LBR TV of education, information, and entertainment starts now.
Tell you, but you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us so much. I said they lie. The people fool us, so the people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they go knock the corrupt. No one to trust. My people, no one to hope on. Nobody. My hope that I have been broken. I'm telling you, brother. So where are the schools? Where are the roads? Where are the jobs that they say they could afford? But they're too selfish. The people tired with their rhetoric. People tired, they tired. You see the reason why we ask why the government betray. They have enough of time, but yeah, then instead they delay. People suffer. No work, but people crying for hunger. Look at.
And, we are working through other. The court managed to rule that all assets are being converted through the acts of other people using government assets and government resources. The courts are ruled now that it is our responsibility to make sure that we collect all the documents and all those instruments that are relating to that conversion and make sure we conduct our criminal investigation.
So we have 3 institutions already complied. I think the assets, let's say, Cloud Foundation. Why is it they were not complying with you?
That's why we came to the court, and the court ruled, and they are now under the obligation to comply to that, and they have taken the appeal to the Supreme Court. We are lawyers of the Supreme Court. We're not afraid of the Supreme Court.
So as head of IREX and Liberia, a lot of people might think that there are more cases that would emanate from this decision. Do you have any intention of bringing more cases before
there are more cases, as I stated in one of our press releases. We have 40 cases on our docket that have to do with former officials that were involved into looting government resources, government assets, and what have you. And so those cases will come to court, and definitely this is the commencement of our litigation, and we are not surprised that this has happened. At least now today that the Liberian people are aware that asset recovery now is in full swing and ready to recover all government stolen assets that are being converted.
Where are we with the former chief of protocol? Because I sort of feel that she's in country. Where are we? Are you still proceeding on that?
We cannot disclose our strategy in the public now. We are working through other diplomatic sources to ensure that all those that have been indicted in foreign country will use diplomatic means to make sure that they are brought to light.
42 days is such a short time for the normal court trial. So how are you going to cope with the balance for the cases that we have? Is it an extension by the next term of court?
Now the court has its term, and it's time to act consistent with law. And once the term is short, we wait for the next term of court and to make sure that we have a matter assigned for hearing.
My fear is that the appeal they took to the Supreme Court placed a stay on the entire matter. Are you not troubled by this?
If you read the application that we filed, and you read the ruling from the court, and even look at the caption of the case, it's just an inquiry and solicitation of documentation. It does not stop our investigation of other parties that are connected to the case.
Meaning that you can still proceed with other investigations?
We are proceeding. Definitely we are proceeding. And those issues that are not related to what is now before the court will not raise them, but there are other issues that for which they are before us will have those issues raised.
Well, let's talk to you, Councilman.
Pleasure.
So, folks, thanks us. So, folks, welcome back. We want to say thanks for joining. My name is Christopher Bestman, and of course, we've been here in the courtroom, specifically from the Criminal Code C, following the final minute being read by the resident judge, followed by the criminal. That's the Code A here at the Supreme Court of Liberia in Monrovia, where we were also following the case involving former Liberia president, our wife, President George Manuel Weah, his wife, that's Madam Clark Mary Weah, as it relates to her foundation. That's the Clark Mary Hope Foundation. And of course, today, the final, the judge, that's the resident judge, Judge Roosevelt, already hands down the ruling on this particular case, wherein the Clark Hope Foundation will now have for now to Monday 4:00 p.m. to produce our document. But very quickly, let me just bring you up to speed as it relates to the court ruled on this particular matter here at the Temple of Justice. So the Supreme Court in February 2026 of let me see what I can lay my hands on this very quickly to bring you up to speed as it relates to this particular case involving the former Liberia president, Madam Claire Maria. Criminal Code 8 has ordered the foundation to produce full financial record. As you may recall that January of this year, the Criminal Code 8 in Monrovia issued its opinion on this particular foundation, citing them to turn over all detailed financial and administrative record as it relates to this particular Claire Maria Hope Foundation. But again, the court has ordered them to make available all legal documents ranging from the sourcing, written from the expenses related to the construction of the foundation complex there in Marshall, Miami County. And of course, this particular request was requested by that's the Asset Recovery and Tax Full Retrieval team headed by Mr. Edwin Clark Martin. And you listen to him in a short interview with reporters, giving a clear cleanse of it that the Clark Maria Foundation has now been given an obligation upon them to provide all necessary funds and record as it relates to that particular Clark Maria Hope Foundation. And this action was requested by the Asset Recovery Task Force, and of course today the resident judge, that's Judge Roosevelt Woody, hands down the ruling on this particular case. So the Clark Maria Hope Foundation, this investigation was somehow politically motivated, and of course the foundation is legitimately a charity foundation. That all of the funds that they used to acquire to build that particular complex there in Marshall was used properly. There was no form of this fund being used inappropriately. That was the argument initially when the subpoena was issued by the resident judge. But furthermore, this case is a long one, like I stated to you initially. They now have an ultimatum of providing all of the necessary documents as it relates to this particular complex, that's the Clark Maria Hope Foundation, bringing forth all of the legal documents, bank statements, slips, and you can just name the rest. So it is what it is. And just to bring you up to speed of what happened in the court with former Finance Minister Samuel Tuer, and that of 5 additional 4 former government ministers too as well. A mandate was read by the resident judge, and of course that mandate didn't give a specific date of when they will return back to the court or when that case is going to be reassigned. But then the legal mandate was read, and of course opinion too was also read by the defense counsel. So as it is right now, let's see whether we can solicit views from people who are actually in the courtroom to bring up to speed, to share with us their own experience as it relates to this particular case involving the former First Lady of Liberia and that of a Clark Maria Hope Foundation here on the grounds of the Capitol building. So this particular ruling is also a major step forward in the investigation, and it's put a clear legal obligation on the Clark Hope Foundations. And of course, the judge has sided with its ruling with the investigators. That's the Asset Recovery Team. That the Asset Recovery Team has full legal right to demand the Clark Maria Hope Foundation for all legal documents, and the foundation must cooperate with this process legally to investigate and to proceed legally. But we're still here, and of course, we want to see whether we can highlight a view of few individuals to share their opinions as it relates to this particular case involving former First Lady. So folks, somehow fortunate to find few people to share, to weigh in their conversation as it relates to this particular case involving the former First Lady. So again, the case, another ruling was done by the resident judge, who was very witty, and of course, the Cloud Mario Hope Foundation has for now to Monday 4:00 p.m. to make available all necessary documents as it relates to this particular case involving the Cloud Mario Hope Foundation and that of the asset recovery team. So the court has ordered require of all sourcings and donation receiving, including donors and identification of all amounts. So this action was requested by the Government Assets Recovery and Property Retrieval Task Force, which is investigating that all public funds was used improperly, and of course state resources diverted to the foundation. That was the argument from the asset recovery team. But in the contrast of that, the Cloud Hope Foundation also filed a formal legal motion asking that the court should squash or cancel this opinion. That was somewhere around the month of January, and their argument was that there was no formal criminal or civil case pending against them, and besides, the court allegedly lacks the jurisdiction to compel the disclosure without a proper legal case. That was some of the argument they raised during the first term of the court. That this means that there's now an active legal dispute over this opinion, which the court must decide. But again, the court have sided with it ruling alongside with the asset recovery team that this particular case involving the Cloud Mario Hope Foundation should make available all legal documents as it relates to their foundation. So just so you know that this matter is still in the investigation and preliminary court process stage, and the foundation this ruling is a major step forward in this investigation case, and of course, this has posed a clear obligation on the Cloud Hope Foundation, and of course, the resident judge of Court A has sided with the investigator, which happens to be the Asset Recovery and Retrieval Task Force of the government. So how much money was used, where the money came from, whether from donors or sponsor loans or personal funds, bank record of transaction details, contract with builders and suppliers and contractors, all these necessary documents needs to be made available for now up to Monday 4:00 p.m. But just so you know that this means that investigators have already established enough legal basis to require explanation and documentation. So think of it, there are too many questions that may be raised around the investigators, and especially with the case involving the former First Lady of Liberia. But again, she has not been convicted of any crime. She has not been formally charged yet based on the current public information. This is just a step about gathering evidence to determine whether a crime occurred or whether there is a possible next outcome depending on the document being shown by her or her legal team for now to Monday. So again, it is what it is. We're being here. Just a few tips of what's actually happening within the courtroom. And like I mentioned to you initially, as it relates to that February of this year, the Supreme Court of Liberia has also ruled in the Samuel Twe case involving additional 5 government officials with charges of economic sabotage, misuse of public money, theft of property, money laundering, criminal conspiracies, and facilitation. And that particular mandate was read this morning, 8 o'clock, at the criminal court C, but then a later date will also be announced by the court too as well. So these charges were actually related to allegations that amounted to 500,000 or above that were transferred from the Central Bank of Liberia to the Financial Intelligence Agency in November of 2023. So remember, the prosecutor also claims that the transfers were improper, and of course, these transfers violated the public financial law. But on the flip side, the defense argues that the funds were used legally for national security purpose, and the criminal trial is now allowed to proceed. So the court has sent the case back to the criminal court, and of course, the criminal court C read a mandate, and of course, but there has been no date provided yet. So the current legal status of the laws does not protect he as a minister, and of course, he's still been formally indicted, and the trial is still ongoing. The case is still ongoing. There has been no final conviction of acquittal yet. But again, Samuel Twe So again, folks, we want to say thanks for watching. It was just a short overview of what actually happened within Court 8 here at the Supreme Court. Earlier on, we were at Criminal Court C, the case involving former Finance Minister Samuel Twe, and that of remaining four former government officials as it relates to the case involving their alleged corruption involvement with economic sabotage, misuse of public funds, and you can just name the rest. And more besides, the case also involving former First Lady, Madam Clara Maria, her foundation there in Marshall, Gibi County. The asset recovery team too as well has requested the court that this Clara Maria Foundation may available all necessary records ranging from bank statements, contracts from suppliers, and you can just name the rest that is surrounded by the entire construction of the Clara Maria Hope Foundation. This is just a short hint of people provided to you so that you can get informed of what actually happened today in Monrovia as it relates to these two former government officials. My name is Christopher Bestman. I'll be here with Tana Tinskaba. I'd like to say thank you, bye-bye from my end.
Your vision and your mission, your intention to the nation, they fall. don't got nothing to show. Nothing. So, why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They betray us. They lie. The people fool us. The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they go knock the borough.
Some of you may be aspiring to positions of leadership in the political arena, but the question is, why do you want to lead? In Africa,
revenue collections, particularly petroleum revenue collections, the management of the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company deems it very important and necessary to provide clarification because we believe that the airway has been polluted with all kinds of speculations when it comes to the collection of petroleum taxes. So the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company issues this statement to provide a very clear, factual, and transparent explanation of Liberia's petroleum revenue collection process. Of course, like I indicated, following recent assertions suggesting that the company collects and quote-unquote mismanage government taxes. So LBR-Radio categorically and unequivocally state on petroleum products. Under Liberia's established revenue administration system, institutional mandates are very clearly defined and legally separated. LBR-Radio collects only its operational fees or non-statutory fees to sustain our operations. It is important to state that the Liberia Revenue Authority is solely responsible for the assessment, determination, and collection of all government taxes, including customs duties, excise taxes, import levies, surcharge, and other levies of Liberia. The petroleum importation and revenue collection process. To enhance public understanding, the petroleum importation and revenue framework or collection process is outlined as follows. Request by licensed importers. So licensed importers do something here regularly that we refer to as request to the management of LBR-Radio to indicate that they want to import their products. Okay, and when that request is made, the lessons by submitting the, like I indicated, latent request to the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company. And in the request, they will specify the product types, sometimes whether it is PMS, AGO, or JET. They will clearly specify the type of product they want to bring in Liberia, the volume of the product. When we say volume, is of course the quantity of the product, you know, and when they do that, the volume is determined. They will also state the expected arrival date, you know, so, or ETA. Step 2, reception, discharge, and outtake verification. Upon approval and vessel arrival, the product is discharged into LBR-Radio's product storage terminal or any private terminal. An outtake report is generated to reconcile the quantity that is shipped against the actual quantity received by LBR-Radio. The volumes are then recorded in both metric tons and US gallons to ensure accounting accuracy and transparency. Step 3, allocation and transfer order or DO. TO. The importer initiates stock movement by issuing transfer order which specifies the authorized distributor, the allocated quantity, and the product type. Then we come to the assessment of LBR-RC statutory fees, but we'll talk about that later. The focus right now is on the taxes that are collected on petroleum products by the government of Liberia. Step 3, assessment and collection of government taxes. All applicable taxes and statutory levies are assessed and collected directly by the Liberia Revenue Authority, not by the Liberia Petroleum Refining Company. All taxes on petroleum products. Taxes include surcharge, import levy, road fund, sale tax. They are all collected by the Liberia Revenue Authority in accordance with national revenue laws. Importers will make tax payments directly to the LRA, not to LBR-RC. It is important to clearly state that LBR-RC does not collect tax money on petroleum product for government of Liberia. It's rather collected by the Liberia Revenue Authority. The LRA maintains oversight authority at the PST. PST is the Petroleum Storage Terminal, including operational controls that prevent lifting where required government taxes remain unpaid. Even where LBR-RC service fees have been settled, lifting cannot occur unless government taxes have been fully paid to the Liberia Revenue Authority. The LRA maintains sole jurisdiction over the determination and collection of taxes, duties, and other levies as defined by the government. LBR-RC acts strictly as the terminal operator and does not collect government of Liberia taxes under any circumstances. It's important to state this. Now, on recent allegations, LBR-RC has taken serious note of misleading statements circulating on social media alleging that the company collects and mismanages government taxes on petroleum products. It's important to state that those allegations are baseless, they are groundless, completely misleading, and they are unsupported by factual evidence. LBR-RC does not collect government taxes and therefore cannot mismanage tax revenue on petroleum products. Any suggestion to the contrary reflects a very fundamental misunderstanding of the clearly defined institutional responsibilities within the Liberia Petroleum Revenue Administration system. Our commitment to transparency and institutional integrity, the management of LBR-RC remains fully committed when it comes to transparency, accountability, compliance with national laws, strengthening governance in Liberia's petroleum sector. Integrity of Liberia's downstream petroleum framework is very crucially important to national economic stability. Public discourses on such matters must be guided by facts, institutional clarity, and responsible engagement. LBR-RC therefore encourages media institutions, civil society organizations, and members of the public to seek clarification from the appropriate authorities regarding petroleum pricing, statutory service fees, and tax collections. So it's important to provide this brief clarification to the public. Again, I restate that the information you've been hearing circulating, that LBR-RC is collecting government taxes on petroleum products, is completely baseless, it's false. As a matter of fact, it's important to state that for the last 2 years that we've been here as management, we've worked with relevant government institutions responsible for the collection of government taxes, particularly LRA and other stakeholders, to even enhance revenue generation to the best of our recollection. Because of the systems we put into place, it's helped in a way to minimize significantly leakages that people have been experiencing in the past. For the last 2 years, I mean, let's take the clear number, but go to the revenue house and will tell you, we have worked along with relevant authorities to make sure that government's taxes on petroleum products even increase compared to the last years. So management of LBR-Radio thought it's important to provide this clarification because we believe if this goes unnoticed, the public will begin to believe it. Here at LBR-Radio, we believe in transparency, we believe in accountability, and we will stop at nothing. We'll continue to make sure we work along with all relevant authorities in government to collect government's just and fair revenue for the purpose of enhancing development and improving the objective and material conditions of the people. Having said that, I would want to pause and maybe if you have 1 or 2 questions, to ask, or my 2 colleagues are here. The Deputy Managing Director for Administration, Mr. Jacob Smith, is here, and the Deputy Managing Director for Operations, Mr. Iresi Kesai. Of course, we have our Marketing Manager, Compliance Manager, and other managers in the room as well. So, members of the media, once again, welcome to LBR-Radio. Please, if you have any concern or question, go ahead and fire. Thank you.
So we entertain 3 questions because Indica have other engagement. Yes. So we entertain 3 questions, and please call your name and the media station. The media institution you represent.
MD, let's say good afternoon to you. My name is Arthur for Prime FM. Few clarities. One, isn't that your system weakness? You talk about minimizing leakages. Is what the speculation coming from? Is what information come out about you collecting taxes or setting money with your coordination with the IRA as bringing us giving rise to this information. The second clarity is.
Let me answer that first one. I want to report it, please. I think it's a fundamental, like I indicated to you, fundamental lack of understanding about how institutions work or carry out their responsibilities in the downstream petroleum sector, particularly when it comes to the collection of revenue on petroleum products for the government. Again, I restate, it is not about leakages also, but that LBR-Radio is not clothed with a statutory mandate to collect government's taxes on petroleum products. So if you have any concern about how much has been collected, what was collected, the only thing we do here is facilitate processes. The right institution that will be able to respond to your question about what is collected and what is not collected is the Liberia Revenue Authority.
Are you saying, in short, that you don't have no idea about specific collections where for the IRA and because in the spirit coordination to have an idea?
No, that's not an issue. The point, the misinformation is that LBR-Radio has been collecting government revenue on petroleum products and we mismanage it. So we are here to tell the public that that information is false. It is not LBR-Radio that collects government revenue or taxes on petroleum products. It is the Liberia Revenue Authority as defined by law. Is that clear? Yeah. Anybody else?
So, thank you. Go ahead. My name is Melvin Jackson. I'm first name. So, a few months back, the MD for LBR-Radio was being celebrated for establishing the LBR-Radio storage tank and making sure that some act that when uncalled for would be hidden. Yes, we accepted that. Today, we now have another one coming that petroleum products or revenue that belongs to the government that are being quote-unquote alleged, that is being collected by LBR-Radio is being mismanaged by the management team of LBR-Radio. Where do you think this is coming from?
There are 2 different things first. Let's take here. LBR-Radio manages or operates our petroleum storage terminal that service the public, the Liberian public. The petroleum products that go in it, there are specific taxes that are clearly defined by law that should be collected by the government. It is not LBR-Radio that collects those taxes for government. It is the Liberia Revenue Authority. So there are 2 different things we're talking. when it comes to the construction of storage facility and even our new lab, the new lab, we invite you again to do the inauguration. That one a different thing. LBR-Radio wants to make sure that the country does not run out of petroleum products. So part of our preparatory process is to increase our storage facility, is to modernize this place, to make sure that we continue to service the Liberian petroleum market. That is quite different. When it comes to the collection of revenue, whoever said that, whether it's phone, but we don't collect the government's money. So the interaction is between LRA and all the different importers when it comes to collecting government's taxes on petroleum products, right? Yeah, sure. I hope I'll be able to answer.
So in the money status management message that I'll put for Joy, you talk about LBR doesn't collect government taxes, which is clear in our laws, but they ask to do with integrity. And LBRC is here providing clarity that, oh, my people will collect that money. I'm going to be simple so that I get the bonus step. We'll collect that money that LRA can do. What's the next step with respect to the clarity you provide? Because it has to.
So you're the media now. You're the media should go to whoever is collecting the government money and ask them the thing they may say are true. You're the one who can collect government money on petroleum product, right? Yeah. That should be your next step. Oh, you laughing?
Just to sort of corroborate what I said, and LRA is the one that collects government taxes. All right. LRA here at LPRC has a chat room. That you have LRA, LPRC, chat room for the collection of government taxes. So, for example, if they come on a particular day, LRA as a collector of government revenue or taxes, they do something every day. For example, they have what we refer to as a start list. So they start certain importer from lifting because these importers haven't come forward with the payment of government taxes. So that tells you, just to support what the MD is saying, that tells you that LRA has the sole responsibility of collecting government taxes. Because they have the start list that is here every day, and LPRC has to abide by that on that particular start list. So
let me state here clearly. Let me say this: no one is perfect. Fallibility, they say, is a natural phenomenon, right? We're all human, but none of us in top management position will ever contemplate on colluding with someone to divert public resources, especially with the president we have, President Joseph Boakai. All of his administration, you come and engage in corruption. It can be one of my management team. I just want to state that very clearly. So Liberians, when it comes to the efficient management at LPRC, you can go to bed. When it comes to corruption, you got to investigate thoroughly because it is not us. As a matter of fact, there are a couple of things that might come up, in the next weeks or few months from now, the things we're doing here to make sure we close some of the whatever it is as leakages, and so on, just to make sure government collects its just revenue in the interest of the people of Liberia. I wanted to state that because it's very important that not everybody believes in corruption. Okay? We're here to serve and to serve the public for the right reason. Yes, you want to say something?
So I'm from Liberia. My thing is, you are being accused that collecting what's supposed to be collected by LRA. Now, for example, somebody comes and says the security at the gate steals the ND money, and the ND is standing right there, knowing very well that security did not steal your money. Why is it that the ND is not clarifying in the context of LRA? They say no,
but I mean, you're supposed to ask. You the media now, wait. I mean, it's important. Let's put this in context. Let's put this in context. And you accuse me?
Yeah.
And you say I'm collecting government money here and there and I'm mismanaging it?
Yeah.
And I've said to you, I'm not the one collecting government money. I did not tell you LRA is the one mismanaging government money. Right? I didn't say that to you.
No, you didn't say that.
I wanted saying to you that it is LRA that collects government's revenue or taxes on petroleum products. So all the other questions about mismanagement of the money that are collected on petroleum products, direct it somewhere else. I've just cleared our path and told you what our statutory functions are, the role we play when it comes to facilitating processes that lead to the collection of government's taxes on petroleum products, that we are not part of it. Echo?
Okay. One last one, then we'll close. Yeah. One last one question, then we'll close. Afterward, the DMDA will come in. Yes.
Yes, sir. I'm Sam Mova from LBR newspaper. You've been very clear that the LBRC is not collecting taxes, but are there any particular fees that the LBRC collects in relation to the services you render that maybe?
Oh, yes, that's a good question. I've just said to you. So LBRC collects non-statutory fees for our own operations. For example, when vessel comes in the country, we get something called vessel discharge fees. Okay, that one is a non-statutory fees. That's what we collect. Then testing and handling. We also test petroleum products in the country to make sure that the product that comes in Liberia, they match or they are consistent with our specification. So those are the non-statutory fees that we collect. You understand? So anybody want information on that? The good thing is that LBRC, we develop what we call quarterly activity reports. In our quarterly reports, we tell you the volume of product that come in the country, and the non-statutory fees that we collect on it, like I indicated to you. We have those reports all around the place. The media, if you want it, you can rest assured, we'll give it to you, we'll pack it up and give it to you and pick up. Go and read them. Huh? Yeah.
In the spirit of that quality report that you talk about, there are too many issues that mentioned in that report. One of such is the challenges that you people face moving forward. Yes. Do you care to mention some of them?
Well, I mean, I don't want us to dilute the purpose of this press conference. There's no institution that operate without challenges, right? So we meet next time. Us, take your microphone, let's then we can talk about. Thank you, Rufus. You see here, this is fourth quarter report. Fourth quarter report. This report, you have our financials, you have the different volume of product that came for the particular quarter. So here we don't hide anything. We're very transparent and open to the public. So anytime you want to know something about LBRC, what we do here, just come. We'll easily give you our fourth quarter report. Whichever quarter you come, we have generated a report for it. Okay?
Colleagues, I'd like to thank you for coming. But let me say that we are no stranger to the fact that we live in a very toxic political environment. And I should also say, without any attack on the media, that the media environment itself is also toxic, very toxic. Yes. It's toxic. Yeah. I'm saying this to say that we here, we came with a defined national philosophy. And that philosophy is grounded in the fact that whatever we do here should contribute to the overall health of our nation. So things that the kind of allegation that's been levied against the management team, I am sure if people did not have gross disregard for establishing the truth, they would have just found out what the facts are as laid out by the managing director. But I think people believe entering mud all over the place, and they believe that you'll go and enter with them in the mud. But we're not here for that. We have a clearly defined objective, and we'll pursue that, so that our service here will contribute to the growth and development of our country. And we believe in that very strongly, and we'll try to exemplify it. So we are not moved by all of the allegations. We'll keep focused. We'll do what we are supposed to do to contribute to the success of the rescue agenda. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is very good. Thank you. Yeah. So listen, carry this thing.
I'm not exactly going to respond. We're going to respond. I'm listening. Yeah.
The shortest route to ill-gotten wealth is political leadership. If you want to get wealth without working for it at all, join African politics.
My people, where you at? Where you at? Wake up from your slumber, stop sleeping. Whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your hands, whip your. Come on, come on, come on. I know y'all sleeping now. Y'all gotta whip us some more, yeah? Okay, let's go. The people who was Who also? The people lie to us. The government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they can knock the ball. I said we tired with their lies. We tired with their promises that led us to a lot of damages.
And yellow machine, that's the first batch of yellow machine. So we see the team is being led by the Deputy Minister for Technical Services, Honorable Prince Dasitamai. We also see the Deputy Minister for Administration, Honorable Samuka Idondo, alongside the Deputy Minister for Rural Development and Community Services at the Ministry of Public Works, Madam Jasidia Tafla. So, welcome to it. This is the final and preparation for the official removal of the first batch of yellow machine. And so we are working gingerly, going towards the. And so why I joined the team later, I'd like to bring you special highlights of these counter flares. And these are specific equipment meant for and a particular county. So you see Lofa, and then you also see Bombing County. I will join the team later. But I think we'll have to do that later because it seems I will be beyond protocol with respect to entry at the pier. So you see Grand Crew, and then you also see Mapolo County in the western part of Liberia. So my name is Simon Damler, and T. Benjamin Myers, the Director of Communication, will join later. So I'm doing the intercultural part of this special podcast. So again, this is the final preparation for the official removal of the first batch of the yellow machine that has arrived in the country. And this is a watershed movement in Liberia, and this speaks volumes of the fight that Liberia's road development and transport facilitation programs are gaining momentum. So you see the Deputy Minister, Prince Tama, and having some side with other authorities, not just a popular work, but of the MPA. So they can start happening. Look at it down in the action. Yes, I did the other thing. You got to send me the action. So efforts are being made to enter the main pier where the Singaporean vessel that brought in these equipment is berthed. So we are walking towards the main pier. And if you have been here at the port, we are walking towards the south of the airport terminal, leaving the administrative NPA wing, and then we are making our way to the main pier. So the podcast is coming to you live from the National Port Authority, the NPA, along the Bucho Island. So all hands are on deck. All hands are on deck. From the planning stage, to supply, to transfer, all hands are on deck. There will be some intermittent break in termination because of the different protocols. said, we are entering the APN terminal facility. And beyond that facility lies the pier that hosts the ship that brought in the first batch of yellow machine equipment. HJ Singapore. That's the name of the vessel. So M2 enters, M3 enters, M4 also enters. And then you see other staff of the ministry and that of MPA. You see Noah Goto, supporter of this excellency president.
Yeah. You say now put on your bread. When Carol go to your home, you play your cassava and potato free, you study. And I'm more than put on your bread.
So bear with me, viewers, as we make our way to the pier so that you can see virtually or online, if you may, and this equipment. So any moment from now, as soon as we enter the pier, that we will turn over to the Director of Communication for an elaborate, an extensive analysis of the removal or build up to the removal of the yellow machines here at the port. You have to beg, may not be bringing you a very sharp view because of the protocols here. We have pedestrian walkway. There are certain areas of the port that you don't tread. I think I will have to break some of the protocols so as to bring you a clearer view of what's obtaining here at the National Port Authority. So we're here now at the APN terminal, and at the back of this building where you have the pier.
So nothing but tomorrow? Yes. So I spoke with him. Yeah, we just spent a break. Yeah, on top of the tax. Oh, so you come us with that?
The person are not babies.
All right.
Okay, one step out there. I know who can keep up.
And so we've entered the APN terminal office or complex today. We will be leaving from here and using the back of this building where you have the pier.
So let's focus on the government equipment. Anything related, not charges. Yeah, so let's keep going. Yeah.
So, like I said, this is a technical area. There are two bedding safety protocols that are put in place. So you observe that the movement here is a little bit at a slower pace, because everyone entering the pier must have the requisite safety gears.
We tired with that speech they preach indeed, and now you need to deceive us. The thing we saw, it frustrates us. So why can't you lie? Why can't you steal? Why can't you allow the citizens to breathe? You see, we just tell you that why we voted you. But you fool us, you screw us, you use us and later on abuse us. So why? The government should lie. Why? But that's the question that we ask. The people fool us, the people lie to us, the government betray us. They can lie, they can steal, they will not the corrupt. No one to trust. My people don't want to hope on. Nobody. My hope that I have been broken. I'm telling you, brother. So where are the schools? Where are the roads? Where are the jobs that they say they could have?
LBR-TV of education, information, and entertainment starts now.
Unjustified lifestyle condition, inconsistent law, by recognizing indirect possession through third parties. It neutralizes common concealment strategies. With respect to burden of proof, which is critical for this hearing, Section 15.62 maintains constitutional safeguards while incorporating a calibrated evidentiary adjustment. The prosecution retains the ultimate burden to prove the offense beyond reasonable doubt. The penalty and enforcement measure ensure both punitive and restorative objectives. Classification as a second-degree felony punishable by up to 5 years imprisonment and a fine up to 5,000 provides deterrence without being considered abnormal. A structured bail provision further protects the integrity of proceedings, particularly in cases involving significant public funds. Now, what are going to be the benefits if this amendment is finally passed or made into the law? It is going to provide a stronger anti-corruption framework. And this is a concept that is grounded and founded under the United Nations Convention Against Corruption, UNCAC. UNCAC, Article 20, encourages states to criminalize illicit enrichment, meaning a public official cannot reasonably explain significant increases in assets compared to lawful income. Advantages for Liberia jurisdiction. It closes the gap in existing anti-corruption laws.
LBR-TV of education, information, and entertainment starts
Improve Liberia's ranking in global governance and indices. This can attract foreign direct investment. Of course, international financial institutions alarming. Better access to international cooperation and asset recovery. UNCA promotes international cooperation in tracing and recovering stolen assets. In Liberia, if this is passed, the alliance is lost with UNCA, that is the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. Recovery of public funds is another advantage that this law will bring to the jurisdiction. Illicit enrichment laws can allow confiscation of unexplained wealth, recover stolen public money, redirect funds to public services like health, education, and other infrastructure. It is going to strengthen our rule of law system. Such laws promote accountability of high-ranking officials, reduce impunity, which is very critical, reinforce equality before the law. This strengthens Liberia's legal system and judicial credibility. Alignment with international standards. Liberia is a state party to UNCA, that's the United Nations Convention Against Corruption. Allowing national legislation demonstrates compliance with global standards, enhances Liberia's international reputation, improves credibility with partners like the African Union and ECOWAS. Then we come to the deterrence effect, which is going to be another advantage if this amendment is done. When public officials know they must explain their wealth, the risk of engaging in corruption, the likelihood of abuse of office decreases, ethical behavior becomes more incentivized, burden of proof, and that is the core of this particular presentation on this subject matter, the core legal issue. The burden of proof in illicit enrichment cases is controversial because it interacts with fundamental rights such as presumption of innocence and right to silence, protection against self-incrimination, initial burden on the prosecution. The prosecution must first establish a prima facie case of evidence, typically by proving that the accused official status, the value of assets acquired over a period of time, which may not be proportional to your income. The lawful income during the relevant period is substantial. This proportion between income and asset, this case requires proof beyond reasonable doubt in criminal systems. Shift of the evidential burden, which is going to be like a paradigm shift under the UNCA Convention. Once this proportion is proven, many legal systems impose an evidential burden, not necessarily a legal burden, on the accused to provide a reasonable explanation for the asset. This does not automatically mean the accused must prove innocence beyond reasonable doubt that we do in our criminal jurisprudence. The overall legal burden shifts entirely to the person who is accused, unlike other offenses on our criminal jurisprudence. If Liberia adopts illicit enrichment laws, Mr. Chairman, members of the Senate, consistent with UNCA, it will strengthen anti-corruption enforcement, improve public trust, attract investment, recover stolen assets, enhance international cooperation, promote rule of law, and support long-term economic development. In short, such law must not only punish corruption, but also help to build a more transparent, accountable, and economically stable Liberia. We come to the amendment to 32, which is the criminal procedure law. The proposed amendment to 32 of criminal procedure law addresses long-standing procedural barriers that historically shielded corruption from effective prosecution. Under the prior framework, statutes of limitation often expired before complex financial misconduct was detected, particularly where public officials deliberately concealed illicit assets during their tenure. Corruption offenses, by their nature, are frequently latent and discovered only through audits, whistleblower disclosures, or post-tenure investigations. Additionally, self-incrimination protection were at times strategically invoked to resist lawful financial disclosure obligation, thereby frustrating investigative efforts and weakening accountability mechanisms. What do we stand to benefit as a jurisdiction if we remove statute of limitation from our books? Eradicating the statute of limitation in Liberia, specifically for economic sabotage and public corruption, can significantly combat the country's culture of impunity by improving time bars. Liberia can prosecute long-standing crimes, foster national reconciliation, restore public trust in government, and improve accountability to secure sustainable development. Key benefits for Liberia. 1. Prosecution of historical crimes, removing limits, allows for the prosecution of perpetrators of crimes. B. Combating corruption. Eliminating the statute of limitation for economic crimes allows for the prosecution of public officials involved in financial crimes, with proposed amendment aiming to address the time frame. You may be aware we have 5 years and then 3 years of misdemeanors. Strengthening the rule of law, removing the limitation prevents corrupt individuals from hiding behind time-based legal technicalities which strengthen legal institutions. D. Fostering reconciliation. Addressing past injustices are considered essential for long-term stability and national healing. E. Attracting investment. Ensuring accountability reduces the incidence of corruption, which is vital for building a trustworthy environment for international investment. These legal changes are being considered, such as the proposed amendment to the criminal procedure law